It is Ash Wednesday, so Lent is upon us, and I'm going to share several tips on how to have a great Lent, as well as share some videos from last year's Ash Wednesday. This year we won't be able to go in the morning, so I won't be able to include any photos or videos from this year with my ashes, Dominic and Michael and Anne-Marie's ashes, so stay tuned for that. But when it comes to Lent, I know that I've met many people, and maybe you can relate, that said, I really wish I could have a better Lent. I really wish I could stick to my Lenten practice, the thing I'm giving up or adding, and I'm definitely have been in that boat so many years. So I'm gonna share a couple things that I think will help you to have a great Lent, and at Easter time say, wow, I really stuck to something for 40 days. And the first thing is find someone that can hold you accountable. I've been doing Exodus 90, which I'm sure many of you know about, but it's a great fraternity, prayer, and asceticism program, and it's really helped me grow. It's been amazing, but one of the big reasons, in addition, of course, to God's grace, that it's been so fruitful is because you have an anchor, which is someone that, you text throughout the week to say, hey, how's it going with this? What can we work on? As well as weekly meetings with the team. Not that you have to do that every week of Lent, but it's something that's so powerful to have someone else there to say, you said that you would have 10 minutes of silent prayer each day. How is that going? And it's like, well, I've only done it once this week. Okay, and obviously, try to pick someone that you're close to so they're not just like, oh man, you stink, why aren't you doing better? Pick someone that you know and that, you have that friendship and trust with. So it's really great to have that. And hopefully this will go both ways. You'll have them as an anchor to hold you accountable, and then you can help hold them accountable. So it's a great benefit for both of you. Another thing I'd like to recommend is keep it simple. I know that there have been previous Lents where I had like 10 things I wanted to do, and because I had 10 things, I either got to one of them or none of them or 3 of them. For those out there doing Exodus, I'm sure they can attest that there are a couple things they struggle with, and we've been doing this for almost 50 days. So for the 40 days of Lent, it will be a challenge to have a laundry list of items to do and to master. So the third thing is, don't think that you have to be perfect. Obviously, we all know that we're not perfect. We're striving for perfection, just as Jesus called us to, but we have to rely on Him. We can't think, be Pelagian and think that we can do all this on our own. It's God's grace, and this is why I would recommend, no matter who you are, where you are, how old you are, to add a couple minutes of silent prayer each day of Lent. To literally, I've mentioned this before in my videos, to just sit in silence and say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. I try to meditate on the face of Christ, which is the joy of the faith image. That's the one I try to meditate on the most. And then the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and how much He loves us and how much He yearns for us to bring others to Him. And one final note is that when you're picking what to do for Lent, try to do something that helps you combat a habitual sin in your life. So say, for instance, you're really big on gossip, and that's something you always confess, that's something you've always struggled with. Try not to read the news or tabloids or social media. Try to detach from that, because those are the things that are probably encouraging you to say, oh, did you see what that person did? If you don't have that temptation, you won't struggle with that. Same thing with gluttony. Say you really eat a lot of sweets. That's the typical thing, removing sweets. But it can even be like snacking. Say you're like a habitual snacker and you get hangry because you snack so much. Try to cut out snacks. These are the things that, they may seem small, but in the long run, after 40 days, after Lent is done, you can say, wow, maybe this is something I can incorporate into my life. And this is something that hopefully will allow us to grow. And so that next Lent, we're not doing the same thing. Again, we've grown in a way that allows us to find another area that we struggle and grow upon. So that's really the goal of all this, is to become saints, to grow in holiness, to be like Christ, and to root out our imperfections with His grace one at a time. By selecting things for Lent that help us combat sin, we are growing in holiness, whether we know it or not. The saints always talk about what's your predominant fault? What is the thing that you struggle with the most? And root that out. That is how we grow. I hope by doing these things, you have a great Lent and help someone else have a great Lent. Remember, we can do nothing without Christ, so rely on Him through prayer and the sacraments. Have a blessed day, and God love you. Here are some clips from last Ash Wednesday. Aren't they just so adorable?
You got all your ashes off, and you didn't.
It's Ash Wednesday. I'm getting up Mr. Dominic.
We're gonna get your ashes, Mr. Dominic. Yay! It is 6 a.m. on Ash Wednesday, and Michael is excited to get his first ashes of his life. Yay, we're going to Mass! You excited? Yeah. Your first Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday! Yay!